Hello, hello, I am Jim Bob and welcome to another TSW Tuesdays live stream. We're going to be running the Ruhr-Sieg Nord pack tonight. We have Corey, Marcus, Nick, Kate, Martin and David in the chat. Good to see you guys. How are you doing? Let's see. Katie says, just enjoyed watching Marwell. Please bring more episodes. Marwell Manor will be every 2 days. Going to be alternating content every couple of days now. So on one day we'll have Marwell Manor with Farming Simulator. The next day we'll have Genesis Alpha 1. And tomorrow, alongside that, we'll be launching our first episode on City Skylines Green Cities. We're actually going to be running a challenge on that, one of the challenges, rather than building a city from scratch like we normally do, just something a little bit different and something with some clear objectives to stick to as well. So that'll launch tomorrow alongside Genesis Alpha 1, and then the day after that we'll go back to Marwell, the day after that back to City Skylines and Genesis Alpha 1. So content will alternate every day. So there will always be something out there for you to watch. Let's see. Martin says, hope you're doing well. Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you, Martin. David's been waiting for this all week, and he's also happy that I'm back on the farm. Yeah, a lot of people have been glad to see me back in Farming Simulator 19. Hopefully this will stop people saying, when you're coming back to Farming Simulator 19. Although, you never know. I put my first video live a couple of days ago, and 2 hours later, when Genesis Alpha 1 went live, it's like, go and play Farming Simulator 19. I've just put an episode out. Oh, never mind. Corey's excited that City Skylines is coming. Yep, I've been promising it for a while. I actually sat down and recorded the first couple of episodes over the weekend, and that first one drops tomorrow. So let's jump into Ruhr-Sieg Nord. I haven't been on this pack since it came out, actually. Been busy with some things and just haven't gone back to this one for a while, but this is a very, very pretty DLC, and I do want to run this one again. So we're going to have a look and see what scenarios we haven't run yet, and then we might just go into one of those, or we might run a service or two. We'll see. We'll see what's available. Well, we're into a... Oh, of course, this is the first time I've loaded up on this profile. So it's going to give us the intros again. So I'm actually going to quit these, and I'll do these. Is it going to let me... It might make me have to do these before I can actually access the content. We'll see. Fingers crossed. There we go. So we can go into scenarios. So let's see what we've got. We've got Rise and Shine, which is a very short one, just 10 minutes. Freight Exchange. I don't think we've run Freight on this pack before. Returning Empty, Storm Trail, and Heavy Metal. So we haven't done any Freight at all for a while. We've only done passenger stuff. So, you know what, I think we'll do the Freight Exchange. It's not a particularly long route by the look of it, but I'm guessing it's going to be slowish speeds and a return journey. We'll give this one a go. Martin, yes, Green Cities will be what drops with City Skylines tomorrow. We're going to be doing a scenario rather than just a standard build a city. I mean, we're still doing a lot of building anyway, but I just thought it'd be nice to actually take on one of the challenges for a change. And yes, of course, David, TSW Tuesdays will continue as well, so we will still be doing Train Sim every Tuesday. So, a steel train has been loaded and prepared. Time for us to deal with this. I'm trying to stream in 1080p tonight as well. Again, it's with my phone because my normal internet just isn't stable enough for live streaming. So hopefully the picture quality will hold up. but normally I try and stream in 720. I'm actually trying to stream in 1080p at 60 frames per second tonight. So we might get a clearer image. It might break up a bit quicker. We'll see. Right, it's been ages since I've been in this train. Master switch to neutral. That'll charge the brakes. You just see the brakes here. Look, they're charging. Oh, that's a clock. That's not the brakes. There we go. Brakes are charged. Set the master switch to forward and the train brake to full service. That's the throttle, train brakes there. There we go, full service. Set the train brake to position 1B. Oh, something went whooshing by. Another freight train there. Set the pantograph to raised. And close the circuit breaker. There we go. Let's get our lights on. Release the parking brake, which is behind us. And when we are ready, release the brake. And gain some throttle. I can't go too fast. Oh, we're going too fast already, look. Yeah, a little bit of throttle, not too much. We've got to stop in a few hundred yards. Corey asks, is there any other news on DLC or any news for any other DLC on this game out there at the moment? I haven't seen anything. There might be some news out there. I haven't gone looking too hard. I must admit I've been, as I say, busy with Farming Simulator and Genesis Alpha 1 and getting City Skylines kind of, you know, up and running as well. But I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything on the official Twitter feed for Dovetail or Train Simulator about new TSW content. You know, they're still doing a lot of stuff as they always do for Train Sim 19, but haven't seen anything for TSW. I have to crawl forward a little bit more, look. Seriously? Apparently we need to crawl forward a little bit more. There we go. Request access to the yard. Proceed at restricted speed. Jesse's in the chat. How you doing, Jesse? Katie says, hopefully Truck Driver won't be that much longer. Really wants to play it along with Wreckfest. Yeah, Wreckfest was supposed to be out back in September, I think it was. Or maybe October. And that, I'm not sure when that's coming. I think Wreckfest has been put back to either end of February or March time. No word at all on Truck Driver, but given we're moving. I think we bounced off the other train. There we go. Put the brakes on. Given that they're still bigging up Xenon Racer as their next release, and that's not due out till March. I think we're looking at April at the earliest for truck driver. I won't be at all surprised if it gets put back to the summer. Obviously, the sooner we get it, the better. But I do think we're still quite a way off. Right, we need to shut the master switch off. Brake to neutral. Or release, sorry. Lights off. Head to the other cab. Oh, that's the wrong seat. There we go. It's in the driver's seat. Let's repeat the process from the other side. Get the lights on. Headlights. Switch to forwards. Brakes to full service. Oops, that's emergency. Brake position to 1B. Release the brake and depart when ready. We've got a red light ahead of us. There we go. Proceed at restricted speed. Are we moving? Have I got the parking brake on still? Did I stall this because I hit emergency brake? I might have done. Master switch is in forward. Throttle's on. Alright, let's try making sure the brakes are fully charged. Throttle off. Brakes in 1B. Release the brakes. Throttle on. We're not moving. Why are we not moving? All my brakes are released. Emergency brakes released. Get the brakes charged. We're just not moving, are we? Alright. Why are we not moving? This is frustrating. I don't know what's going wrong. There's got to be an engine start somewhere. I mean, the engine sounds like it's running. Brake release. Don't tell me that was it. I've done it again. I've managed to completely screw up. Oh, pantograph. Is the pantograph up? It's not that. Oh dear, what is going on? Why won't the train move? Ah, this is so frustrating. I don't know why we're not moving. I really don't. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Why won't my train start moving? The engine's on. Oh, this is so stupid. Right, let's go through the whole boot up procedure again. So we've got a battery to charge up. Release the parking brake. Okay, that light went out. So I think the parking brake has now gone off. We should hopefully be golden now. That in forwards. Brakes into full service, get them charged. Pantograph up. Close the main circuit breaker. Brakes to 1B. Hold on a sec, I need to... notifications. There we go, right. So we shouldn't get any more of those big black boxes popping up on the screen. I keep forgetting to do that. And yet still they're popping up on my screen. That's in forwards. Let's try making sure the brakes are released. Still getting no throttle. What is going on? Oh, we're moving. It's just the weight of the freight. Okay. That's so stupid. Right, we're off and running. Let's try and catch up with all the comments that have been whizzing in. Probably telling me what I was doing wrong. David C says, those who don't have the game, it's currently half price on Xbox for a week. Most of the DLC is reduced. Mr. Watt has popped in the chat. Good to see you. How you doing? There seems to be a bit of discussion as to who's going to win between Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain. If you'd asked me that a month and a half ago, I would have said PSG would have stomped United to pieces, but the way they've been playing recently under Solskjaer, and the fact that Neymar is out for both legs, Cavani is a doubt for the first leg, you know, all of a sudden it's more of a 50-50 game. I would say Paris would win in France at Old Trafford. United have got a good chance. It's finely balanced, that tie, I think. Anthony said I needed to put 10p in the meter. Possibly. We've got it running. We're up and running again, so... Mark Murray says he's playing Subnautica and really loving it, but just lost his Seamoth. Yeah, it's always a pain in the early stages when you lose a Seamoth. It's not just having to find the resources to rebuild one, but also potentially if you had a storage bay on it, all the resources that might be destroyed along with it. If you find the wreckage, you should hopefully be able to salvage something from it. Get a bit of a scenic look at our heavy freight train. Oh, I can see how long that train is. No wonder we were struggling to get up to speed. Speaking of which, let's whack the throttle up. Try and get the camera to a position where we're not going to get smacked in the face continually by posts, etc. There we go. Have a look. When will the update for Railway Empire be? I have no idea. It went into beta test on PC a while ago. I would imagine probably if it's not going to come out towards the end of this month, I would imagine next month. I know that they are looking to release a new Germany DLC next, and then there'll be a France DLC after that. And I would imagine that the update will drop just before the Germany DLC goes live. So I would imagine possibly next month. I was hoping it would come out sooner than that, but I reckon they'll probably cobble an update for the new stuff in, along with a prep patch for the DLC itself. Hitting the face by trees. Let's switch to the other side of the tracks. There we go. We are rocketing along here, aren't we? Over 70 miles an hour. 3.5 miles. It's going to take us a while to stop this train, I think. Given just how much freight we're hauling. I'm amazed we're hauling it quite so fast, if I'm honest. We thunder through these open stations. You can see the signals change to red as we go through them. I've always liked to see that. It's just a nice little touch. Michael says Subnautica was a great series. He watched all 47 episodes in a week. Good man. That's binge watching and a half, that is. Mark says, am I going to do any new vids on City Skylines? Yes, Green Cities goes live tomorrow. And then future videos will be every 2 days. Right, let's test our brakes. See how good they are at slowing us down. Put it on brake 2 for now. Not too bad actually, we're leaving that speed off quite quickly. Let's go to running. Oh wow, they're just continuing to slow us down. Alright, we need to balance that out with some more acceleration. I'm amazed we slowed down so quickly and continued to slow down as soon as I hit the brakes. Now we're going to struggle to get back up to speed again, and by the time we do, we're going to have to be slowing down again. Alright, let's kill the throttle. We're just a few hundred yards away from a 25-mile-an-hour zone. Got brakes to 1B. Drop to 1.8. Let's go a touch too fast here. So we just need to slow down a fraction more. There we go. Switching over into some side lines over here. A lot of points to go over, which is why we need to slow down. Don't want to risk a derailment with a lot of freight like this. There we go. And once we're clear, we should get the ability to pop up a little bit faster. You see we've got a 60-mile-an-hour zone coming up. Look at the gradient. 2% uphill gradient with this much weight. It's going to take us a while. Make sure the brakes are off. They are. See that gradient starting to ease off a bit now. Let's jump back in the cab. Let's put throttle on minimum. Again, you really do get that feel for the camber on these curves. You can see how much we're leaning over to the left. And now we've got a nice little downhill gradient. So we're going to start picking up speed again. We're going to need to just, I think, put a little bit of braking force on there. Just to hold us at around 30. Last week we were lamenting the lack of new maps on FS19, then a couple of days later a load get released. So on Friday Brian is going to put some money on the lottery and wants to know what numbers I suggest. Whatever you think is going to be lucky. I don't play the lottery. and I don't want to be held responsible for numbers that don't give you anything. Corey says when this game came out, simulators started to come to console. Actually, no, simulators have been coming to console way before this came out, just most of them weren't very good. Don't forget Spin Tires came out way before this did. Farming Simulator 17 was out before this. Farming Simulator 15 was out before this. You know, the airport simulator games, which are terrible. Professional Farmer series, which again is terrible, was out there. Yeah. It has helped kind of establish simulators a little bit more, but you know, it was mainly, I think, Farming Simulator and Spin Tires that were the main components or main proponents of legitimizing simulators on console. This has just helped to further legitimize them. There you go, Brian. Martin has chipped in for you, number 24. And of course, about a week, 2 weeks ago, I did post some gameplay footage from PlayStation Underground, where they were showing off Bus Simulator, which is due out in spring, so I would guess next month is when that's going to come out. Maybe April. Looking forward to that. That looked very, very good on the PS4 Pro. We need to slow down. Jean-Luc's popped in the chat. How you doing, Jean-Luc? I think my engine's stalled. I did accidentally put my master switch in neutral, but it didn't seem to affect things. I think I might have just stalled the train. Dear oh dear. Nope. No, we are picking up speed again. Okay, I thought I'd stalled the train for a second then. We're okay. Katie says there's so many games coming out, she needs to get an external hard drive for her Xbox. External drives are great. I mean, I had a 2 terabyte hard drive inside my PS1, my original PS4. I swapped it out and put a 2 terabyte drive inside it. Really easy to do that on PS4. You know, it's so simple to swap a hard drive out. But since then, since I upgraded to my PS4 Pro, I've just left the 1 terabyte that it came with alone, and I've got a 2 terabyte external, which has got all my games mounted on it. And you know, depending on the games that you play, you need that increased storage. I mean, I'm looking at getting Red Dead because it's on sale here in the UK at the moment, and that's 105 gigabytes. That's huge, absolutely massive. start easing the throttle down. Well, throttle is off. Ease the speed down a bit. See how slowly we're slowing down. The weight of the train just pushing us forward. Only play the campaign, not the online of Red Dead. It's so broken. I don't want to play the online anyway. You know, for me, you know, if I'm going to get that game, it's only for the single player. I'm not interested in the online aspect of that game at all. There we go. So manually unhook the couplings. Let's do that outside this time. There we go. Objective complete. Door closed. Let the signalman know we're ready to proceed. Proceed at restricted speed. Okay. Throttle to minimum. Let's reduce the brakes. Mr. Water says, glad consoles are getting a lot of simulators, just wish ETS2 would come to PS4 or Xbox, but that will never happen. Truck drivers should be good though. Well, there is a little bit of talk going through that we may possibly, in the future, get ETS. Their next update, they're going to switch over to DirectX 11, which will make the game, you know, a little bit more compatible with a potential console version going forward. It is something that apparently SCS are exploring, but they haven't made any concrete promises, so you never know. We may possibly get ETS2 or American Truck Simulator somewhere down the line, but if it is going to happen, it's still going to be quite a way off, I would imagine. And I would love to see either of those games make their way over to console. Do I play GTA 5? No, I haven't played GTA 5 for a long time. I started to really hate the online aspect of it. And I resent the fact that Rockstar just kept milking that online cash cow and just cancelled their promised DLC that we were supposed to be getting. They promised a storyline DLC and it never came. I did play it for a couple of years. Last time I played it, they just released the Underground Bunker DLC. Well, I say DLC, the Underground Bunker add-on for GTA Online. That was the last time I played it. It just became an endless grind that if you didn't play the game all the time, that, you know, every time they released new content, you know, it cost you millions upon millions upon millions to do it, which meant you either had to sit and grind for ages to afford a single thing, or you had to buy a shark card, and it became a money grab, and I lost interest in the game after that. Headlights reduced. Head to the other cab. Switch to forwards. Brakes to full release. Or full service, as I should say. Now set to position 1B. Hopefully we'll actually pull away first time this time. Release the terrain brake and depart when ready. Brakes are released. Throttle is set. Let's give it some beans. Actually, I need to... yeah, I can hear the engine whirring in the background. There we go, we're moving. A lot of people, you know, talking about how good Red Dead as a game is. I loved the previous Red Dead on PS3. That was a brilliant game, Red Dead Redemption. Absolutely loved it. And the DLCs they released with it were brilliant as well. The Undead Nightmare pack. It was the stereotypical zombie expansion, but he actually pulled it off, and it didn't feel tired or worn out as a gimmick. It actually worked really well. That was an amazing game, the original Red Dead. And of course the online of it was ruined by people just trolling. Everyone also seems to be of the opinion that it would be great to get ETS too. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of built for this, for this audience, really, isn't it? For the people who like to play simulator games. I have no doubt that we will get a truck sim from SCS at some point in the future on a console. It's just a question of which one and when. But it won't be anytime soon. I'm almost certain of that. Noticed that for whatever reason we still had those things there, and we didn't have our location objective, which is there now. So steering wheel play is going to be in Truck Driver. As to how many wheels will be supported, that's another question. I'm pretty sure anyone with a G29 like myself is going to be fine. Probably one of the Thrustmaster wheels will be definitely included. Beyond that, who knows? I've been checking out the concept or the possibility of a side panel on PS4 as well. Now, you may remember at the beginning of the year, Giants did announce that they were expanding their partnership with Logitech. You know, so Logitech bought out Cytec and have released, or just basically repackaged, the Cytec side panel for PC. But there is a YouTuber out there, just a small little channel, that has done a couple of videos of using the Cytec side panel for FS19 on PS4, and it has some functionality, not full functionality, but it does work to a degree. And what seems to be weird as well is it adds in, controls for hazard lights which apparently we can't have on console, but they're coded into the game. And if you use the Cytec side panel, you can actually have working hazards, not just a left indicator or a right indicator, both on at the same time. And you know, dedicated buttons for certain functions as well. And it just, I've only seen one person do that, and I just don't want, because I don't have a PC and I couldn't afford a PC that would be capable of running games that I'd want to run. I can't justify taking the risk on getting a Cytec side panel, because they're not cheap. They're over 100 quid, I think, just for the side panel on their own. One of the newer Logitech branded ones, just to see if it will definitely work with PS4. But if anyone out there has a PS4 and a PC and has a Cytec side panel, try it on your PS4, because it should work. The wheel and the Cytec wheel doesn't work with the side panel. If you have, the wheel will work but the panel won't. But if you have a G29, as the guy in the video who did the test did, then you can use the wheel and the side panel, you know, a G29 and the side panel. So it's something to try if you have one, but I'm not suggesting that anyone rushes out and buy one just to see if it works, because it's an expensive purchase, and you know, you're then stuck with something you can't use if it doesn't work for you. But I am still kind of scouring to see if I can find more examples of people doing that, and if it works, then I may well look into the possibility of getting a side panel set up, and then I can use my wheel for farming sim. Because without any sort of movement control or anything like that, it's a bit trying to drive. The Cytec wheel has thumbsticks on the wheel which allow you to change your view and change your camera angle, which you can't do on a normal G29. You can't change your, you know, which direction you're looking. You know, you can't pan the camera. You have to have a pad on standby, and it just seems like such a pain to do that. But if, with the working side panel, you can change your view in cab. So that would make being able to drive around in first person so much easier. And having dedicated buttons for dedicated functions. Being able to toggle just the headlights and not go through all of the light settings to get back to just headlights or turn them off again. Things like that, you know. So, like I said, if you have a PS4 and you have a Cytec side panel, try it on the PS4 and let me know. It won't work at all with FS17. The side panel and the Cytec wheel in combination won't work on the PS4, but if you have a G29, I don't know about other wheels, but a G29 and the side panel should work for FS19 or PS4 from what I've seen. So do try it, let me know how that goes. Alright, got a 31 zone coming up. Let's just slow down a touch. Very slight uphill gradient, that'll help bleed off a touch more speed. In fact, I'll probably have to put a little bit of throttle on to counter that. Yeah, we're still losing speed even with a little bit of throttle. Let's put the throttle to 15. Right, let's see. 25 zone coming up. We're at the right speed. Let's just kill our throttle and just stay at 25. We haven't got a time limit to worry about. That's good. Need to put some brakes on actually because we're on a 2% downhill gradient. Need to hold that speed under control. Martin has a random question. Do I like snooker, and if so, who's my top player? I'm a casual snooker player, snooker watcher. I'll watch it every now and again, but not very often. I'm not passionate about the sport, but I do enjoy watching a little bit every now and again. And my favourite player, Rocket Ronnie. You know, he's just a joy to watch when he's on form. He's unbeatable. The most naturally gifted snooker player that we've ever seen. And he's a personality as well. He's a real personality. Can be very outspoken at times. Oh, that's the wrong. There we go. It's the brake control we want. These logging train cars here. The kind of thing we've been seeing in the past on Farming Sim. They look more like the timber rudder trailers for a truck though than the ones that we get in game. And here's one actually full logs all the way down the train. And there we go. Objective complete. I think that's going to be the end. Just need to shut the train down, I'm guessing now. Yep, shut down the locomotive and climb down to complete this duty. So, master switch to off. Apply the parking brake. Deactivate the lights. I don't think that's it. I think it's the lights at the other end. Yeah, it is. Look, it's the lights in here that we forgot to turn off. Climb down and ensure the locomotive is locked. There we go. Martin's favourite players are Ronnie and Mark Selby. Mark Selby's actually fairly local to me. I mean, I'm in Nottingham. He's close by in Leicestershire. Well, that's where he's from. I have no idea if he still lives in Leicester. There we go. Scenario complete. So let's take a look at the other scenarios. What I might do is I might just run a passenger service instead from the services menu. Get some brighter weather. It's all very doom and gloomy, very dark and overcast on the scenarios. Just clouds and rain. Yeah, let's run a service with a passenger train. We'll go with this one. Let's go summer clear, I think. There we go. And let's find a nice long route. They're all the same, look. Oh, and there's the Hagen yard. To Hagen itself. Hagen to Siegen. Yeah, it's all the same route, look. And then there'll be a reverse. Siegen to Haven, perhaps. That's a short run. We want to go sort of midday, I think. There we go. Jean-Luc is off to go and watch a meeting with the Hollisters. Today's episode of FS19 on Marwell Manor. Thanks for stopping by, Jean-Luc, if you're still here. Martin is waiting till the end of the stream before he goes off to watch both episodes of Marwell. Good man. Right. How to get this train started. Brake key, perhaps. Is there a train start button? I'm not hearing anything at the moment. Look around. Battery main switch is on. It's been so long since I've driven this train, I really have no idea. Well, let's just see if I can just get her started. Yeah, no, the engine's dead. It needs to be switched on. So we need to find the power button. Where is the engine switch on? There we go. MCB to closed, pantograph raised, train brake, put in full service, put in 1B, reverses in forwards, release the brake, throttle on, and we're moving. There we go, we sussed it. We are off and running. 25 mile an hour speed limit at the moment. We've got 10 minutes to do 5 miles. We might be a little late because it took us a little while to get started. My wiper control down there, look, as well as the emergency brake. We won't need the wipers today. Glorious weather, look. What's this? Is this door controls? Shunting control. Okay. Kill the throttle. No, What's the... let's get some more speed up before we do that. There we go. And let's go external. Front camera. What a difference a time of day makes, doesn't it? I mean, look how bright and cheerful this looks in comparison. It looks a bit weird with all the pantograph lines blurring the screen a little bit. Once we get out of this main sort of area, we should calm down a little bit. I hope. There we go. Let's sit at this height for a bit. It's almost like we're driving a bus looking at this thing. Chris asks, when will Bus Sim come out to consoles? No confirmed release date. All we know at the moment is spring. So, sort of next month onwards. Bleed the speed a little bit. There we go. That 1% downhill gradient, just a bit problematic. Now it's switched to uphill. We're getting bashed against the wall. Just took a sign to the face. That's got to hurt. Let's change our camera angle slightly. There we go. Get that speed back up again. Katie says she hated ploughing the large field with the small plough. Yeah, field 18, a long time. With two of those 2.5 metre ploughs, it took me 3.5 hours real time. In-game time at ×5, it took me, 15, 16 hours in-game time. Long time. Haas has popped in the chat. How you doing, Haas? Oh, train to the face. Oof. I look down at the screen, look back up, and there's a train coming head on to us. That was no time to react. Have we got anyone on this upper deck, I wonder? Yes, we do, look. We are 6 miles out and 6 minutes to go. As long as we can keep our speed up high, we'll be alright, we'll make it. Trying to get speed up right now. Throttle set to max. Brakes are on release. But a horrible feeling that the train might be stalled. Let me check reverses and forward. There we go, yeah. There was no amps going to the engine. Marcus is disappearing. Well, nice to see you, Marcus. Feel free to stop by every Tuesday. What time speed would I say is good for FS19? I like to play in ×5 so that, you know, you can get a decent session of three 3 hours or so will get you from sort of dusk till dawn, or dawn till dusk. But it depends. It depends on how much you've got to do. Some people like to play on ×1. You know, if you want to try and simulate, and you're playing on, say, a small map, and you want to still simulate that daily duties kind of thing, then, you know, a map, for example, it's not out yet, but Old Stream with the very small fields, you could perhaps say play at ×15, and then I think about 3/4 of an hour to an hour would be, you know, dawn till dusk kind of thing, and you'll get a full day in about an hour, something along those lines. You know, it's entirely up to you, however you feel comfortable. Me personally, I just prefer to play at ×5. I only really switch down to ×1 when I absolutely have to get something done. But I try to avoid doing that, and I don't speed time up unless I've got absolutely nothing to do and I've got to wait for a period of time. Usually sort of it's just the evenings that I speed the time up, you know, rather than sleeping through the night. I like to keep an eye on things, maybe get things set up for the next episode, so I might run at, you know, ×120 for a couple of hours to speed things up in the evening, and then get everything set up and then speed it back up again. You know, it varies, but generally I personally prefer to play at ×5. Katie says she's going for an all John Deere farm, and she hasn't done one yet. She's got bored of all the other maps. Yeah, I was saving John Deere for a map that I really wanted to play on, which is Marwell in this case. And one thing you have to be wary of, the combination of Marwell being a map with a lot of detail means you don't have anywhere near as many available slots as you would on a map such as New Bartelshagen, for example. And the John Deere models are the most detailed models in the entire sort of catalogue of farming simulator base game equipment, so the slot counts on each individual piece of John Deere equipment can be very, very high as well. So that combination does mean that you might end up running into some slot problems. Just need to be wary of that. You know, if you're wanting to have a lot of tractors, double up your equipment, so instead of getting a 6M and a 6R and a 7R and then an 8R, maybe look at getting 2 6Rs and 2 8Rs, for example, and then your duplications will use up a lot less slots than a full tractor. Right, how far out are we? A minute and a mile and a bit. We don't have to slow down though until we actually hit the station itself, so we might just make this. We probably won't, but we won't be that, you know, won't be that late, which is a good thing. And look how much more picturesque this is when you can actually see the surrounding landscape and you can see all that colour. That's why I'm surprised that every scenario is just grey and miserable. I would have thought they'd have done something with bright weather like this to really show off the landscape. Right, now we need to start slowing down. Fast. And I need to get my camera back to the front of the train. Beautiful. And it's still 17:27. We just made it. We absolutely just made it. It was close. And I love the irony of the fact that this is, this is a train with bike symbols plastered all over the side of it. I just love that kind of delicious irony. It's got a thumbnail for this screenshot for the thumbnail there. Pull out a little bit more. There we go. Get our passengers loaded. Doors closing. And away we go. And away we go. Yep, there we go. We have got movement. We are moving. I started to panic again for a second then.
Bitte achten Sie auf die Markierung am Bahnsteigrand.
Jake has popped into the chat. How are you doing, Jake? Martin suggesting that he was expecting me to just go flying through the stations. Yeah, I have improved a little bit, although I do still make that mistake from time to time if I'm not paying attention, usually because one of you lot's asking me a question in the chat and I look down to see it and then I look back up and we're through the station. So I blame you, Pecky. Anytime we have an issue like that, I'm blaming you for distracting me with questions. My excuse and I'm sticking to it. DQ says he tends to use Voucher a lot so we can change the colours. He just gets a kick out of rear-facing driving as well. Well, you can do that not just on vouchers, you can do that on the fence as well. I think there's another tractor that you can do that on as well. I'm trying to remember what it is, if it's just the fence and the vouchers. Might just be those two brands. Train coming. Let's just get clear so we don't get smacked in the teeth. Approaching the next station. Throttle off, let momentum carry us through a bit more. Start to bring that speed down a bit. Can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Oscar's in the chat. How you doing, Oscar? Good to see you. What's the weather like in New Zealand right now? Hot, cold, wet, miserable? Sunny skies? Chris asks, is this a new train? No, this is actually quite an old train now. This is part of the Ruhr-Sieg Nord DLC, which came out last year. Oh, it's hot. How hot? And do you use Celsius in New Zealand, or are you like the Americans and use Fahrenheit? That little bing bong there. The door's closing. Off we go to the next stop. 12:41. That gives us 7 minutes to do just under 5 miles. We can do that. I was wondering what you meant by dog data there. DQ going a little bit mad there. I have to kill you off and reclone you. Let's bring out DQ V3. Make you an arachnoid, give you a little bit more intelligence. .22's not hot. Unless it's like literally first thing in the morning, in which case it's going to be quite hot. There we go, just hold the throttle at minimum for a moment. A slight uphill gradient. That speed should start to bleed off again in a moment. Yep, there we go, already starting to dip down again. Katie wants to be back on the crew of the USS JBPG on Genesis Alpha 1. I've got other people that haven't had a chance yet in a list, but I will be sort of accepting second requests soon as we start to clear off some of the crew on Genesis missions. So I'll let you know in the videos when the time is to sort of re-enlist if you've already had time serving on the crew. So you will have the opportunity for another run at some point. It's dark. Let's jump back inside somewhere in here are lights. Oh, in fact, actually, headlights. Oh, I've just turned them off. Let's try that again. Headlights bright. Signal lights on. Tail lights on. Now I can see the controls. Cab lights and timetables. Yeah, there we go. Let's just get a touch more speed. How are we doing for time? 1.8 miles out and 3 to 4 minutes left. Yeah, we need to be going a little bit faster than this. Just a little bit. Not too much. Please don't post score updates in the chat, Corey, just in case there are people who are waiting to watch the match later and don't want to know the score now. Oh, we're going too fast. We need to slow down. That speed change snuck up on me a little bit there. I was looking at comments, so it's your fault, Martin. Half a mile to go, and we're on schedule. We're going to do this. We're going to arrive bang on time again. You wouldn't think we had headlights on, would you? Can't see a damn thing. It's got to be a proper headlight look. You know, coach lights. Let's get the coach lights on. And that is 12:41, which is our arrival time. And we are arriving. A little bit further forward. There we go. Let's get those doors open. And let's take a look at these instruments again. So we've got our coach lights on now. Headlights bright. There we go. That should sort things out. What are my thoughts on the Cricket World Cup? I don't have any thoughts. I'm not really a fan of cricket. Played it a little bit as a kid, just because kind of had to. It was alright, didn't really enjoy it. You know, I don't find it an exciting sport to watch, despite the fact that I actually lived right round the corner from the Trent Bridge cricket ground, and worked for a year or so at Trent Bridge Inn. I just, cricket has no real interest for me. You can't put the throttle on before you take the brakes off. There we go. Now we're moving. That's better. Apparently it's not a complete stream without the lighter clicking, and we've already had a goddammit. Okay. You're forcing me to smoke a cigarette here. Katie asks, will I be getting the new Need for Speed when it finally comes out? I don't know. Maybe. I don't tend to do that much racing. I've got GT Sport and I'm enjoying that at the moment. Need for Speed, more often than not, just tends to feel too arcadey for me. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, arcade-like racing. I've had a lot of fun with some arcadey kind of racing games in the past. I mean, I loved the original Burnout games. I think Burnout 3 Takedown was my favourite of the lot. And I loved the first Need for Speed Hot Pursuit back when that was on PS3. That was a brilliant game. But most of the other Need for Speeds I've just felt been pretty meh. So I don't know. Probably not. I'll probably just stick to GT Sport. How do I make my thumbnails? I use Share Factory on PlayStation. Oops. Just knocked the mic. Sorry about that. You happy now, Martin? Forcing me to smoke on a live stream. How dare you? Have I seen Top Gear's Grand Tour? What, the TV series or the computer game Cash In? I haven't seen the most recent series because I don't have Amazon Prime. There's a freight train going whistling past us, I think. Yeah, it is, look. That's a long train, look at that. Awesome. I do like the show. It doesn't flow as well for me as the old Top Gear did when they were on Top Gear. Some of it feels a bit contrived. Their first season had a lot of really bad recurring jokes that they had to scrap for season 2 because everybody hated them. It's like they were trying too hard and also copying at the same time. And some of the stuff they did was brilliant, some of the stuff was just very bland and boring. Season 2 was better. I haven't seen the third season, which I think has just gone out recently, or started recently. I have seen the game that accompanies it, and to be honest, it looks rubbish. But it just, I don't know. It looks like one of those sort of stick a 50p or a quid in the arcade machine and play for 30 seconds kind of thing, and then there doesn't look to be any real depth to it at all. But I've only seen one bit, based on the first episode, so maybe it's deeper than that. I don't know. Hey Brandon, how you doing? Good to see you in the chat. Oscar says he'd love one day for Dovetail to do some routes from the west coast of USA. I personally would love to see them do a route from one part of the country all the way through to the other. I'd love to see a complete run. Maybe this will happen with future DLCs and they can all link up and you can run a service from, say, London to Edinburgh. That would be awesome. We could do that, or at least run from London to, say, Manchester or Liverpool or somewhere. that's a good distance away, rather than just a quick 34-mile jaunt on on Paddington to Reading. It's, you have no stops. You just stick it on full blast and then just sit back, and then you arrive, and that's it. The HST route is a real disappointment because you have no stops, and it's just max speed the whole way. I'd like to see a route with a long route with multiple stops on it, going from one major city to another major city. Leroy's popped in the chat as well. How you doing, Leroy? Oscar says driving the Mallard or the Scotsman. Yes. I mean, those are the two of the most iconic steam trains. They're not by means the only steam trains from the UK that are well known. You've also got the other Gresleys. Both A4s, A3s, A1s. The Scotsman started out as an A1 before it became an A3 when it was refurbished and rebuilt. Then you've got the pannier tanks and all the other types of locos. I mean, the Scotsman and the Mallard are the one that grab all the headlines because they're the glamour locos. But I'd be happy with just any steam, really. Those would be, amazing, but, any steam trains would be nice. Now we're slightly behind time. We're going to be, I think, 12:51 when we pull in and when we stop. Unless I can get this braking judged just about right. I'm going to go in a little hot here. Just give me a little bit more, Ah, 5 seconds late. I can live with 5 seconds. Corey's off. Take it easy, Corey. Thanks for stopping by. Katie wants a train fixing simulator. What train mechanic, car mechanic, that kind of thing. Car mechanic was supposed to be coming out on PS4 in December. I haven't seen that, so I'm guessing that was delayed. I don't think it was scrapped. I'll have to find out what's going on with that as well. But car mechanic simulator, as I say, was supposed to come out in December. That was one I had my eye on. I'll need to look into that one again. I had a list of games I was looking forward to, and they're kind of scheduled either release dates or release windows, and all but one of them missed their window. I think the only one, apart from obviously Farming Sim, that came out on time was Subnautica. Everything else has either been delayed a little bit or delayed a lot. I had Wreckfest on there, Bus Simulator. Well, Bus Simulator actually was just listed as 2019. Didn't have a sort of a release window. I just had it down as 2019, so that's going to be fine. But Wreckfest was supposed to come out. I think Wreckfest was supposed to come out November 20th, same day as Farming Simulator. I I remember now, they were both listed on the same day and that didn't come out. God knows when that's coming out now. Next month, maybe. Truck Driver was supposed to be out in Q4, so anywhere between sort of September and, October and December of last year. And now it's looking like summer is going to be a more likely release window for that game this year. As I say, Car Mechanic Simulator was supposed to be out in December. God knows what's happened with that. We'll keep an eye out. And hopefully we won't have to wait too long for Bus Simulator. Hopefully that is literally about a month or so away. Hello there, Mr. Peach. How are you doing today? There's one game that's coming out on PC and Switch that I really wish would make the jump to console, and that's that Bad Goose. I'm not sure if that's the name. I don't know if it actually has a full name yet, but it's a Bad Goose game. It really does look like a lot of fun. I really wish that would make the jump to console as well. As far as I know, it's PC and Switch only. We're going to have to juggle our speeds a little bit here. I'll try and make sure that we get in on time at the next stop as well. Keep an eye out for gradient changes. One of the reasons why we don't get as many kind of games is the size of the studio that's making them, and the money that's involved. I mean, at some point in the future, hopefully, we might get Gold Rush on console. The devs have said they would like to get it on console, but the problem is, I mean, that game is still technically, I think, in early release on PC. So that game's going to go into full release before it can be released on PS4. Now, it might get snuck into Xbox on early release because they have that early release platform. But they're still releasing betas, new beta updates, constantly on Gold Rush. So that game is a long way off. It's a very small team. And, the cost of, developing the game and getting it working on PC and then coding it for, Xbox and PlayStation on top of that, it's not just the cost of actually the time involved in the code, but also having to hire more staff, and it's a lengthy process, and it's a financially draining process. Giants themselves are still a small studio. I mean, yeah, they've got a very successful franchise on their hands now, but it's still a very small team, and everyone's going on about, they had 2 years to work on FS19 from FS17, but they didn't, because they had a small team that had, to work on all the DLCs, the individual packs, plus the expansion pack, the Platinum pack, which, turned out to be a bit of a disappointment because Sugarcane was such a pain to work with. I think most people just gave up on it pretty quickly. Plus they had the mobile version to do as well, so being able to dedicate the whole team to working on FS19 wouldn't have happened until, a year before the game was out, maybe. And it's a small team, so that's a very small group of people working on a game until you can allocate full resources to it. And it's not just giants. You know, you look at some of the other studios out there. Dovetail, that make this, are a small studio. Astragon, who made Construction Simulator, they mainly make mobile games. They're a small studio. They managed to patch or port the mobile version onto consoles, but I mean, their last full release of Construction Simulator, I think, on PC was 4 years ago now. And that hasn't made its way over to console. Maybe they were testing the water with the mobile port. Who knows? Maybe a full release is in the works somewhere down the line. But, you know, they're a very small studio. They're still knocking out mobile games. You know, Construction Simulator 3 is coming out on mobile, and they're working on that. And they have to keep working on supporting and updating whatever they're working on. So, you know, Playway, again, very small studio. You know, all these teams, they're not massive, they're not huge, great big studios that can just throw hundreds of people at a project and you know, insane amounts of money. Alright, 13:09, our next stop. We've got 10 minutes. How far have we got to go? 6 miles. Yeah. As long as we don't run at 50 miles an hour the whole way, we can do that. Let's run externally again for a little while. Oh, we are going way too fast. Ease that throttle down a bit. There we go. Marcel's in the chat. How you doing, Marcel? Good to see you. Let's get a little bit of throttle just to counteract that 5% or 0.5% uphill gradients. 62 zone coming up. Good, we need that extra speed. Return service just passed us on the opposite line. Back the throttle up to 10%. And look how beautiful and picturesque this route is when you can actually see clearly what's going on. Like I say, I still don't understand why they made every scenario grey and raining and overcast. Did themselves a bit of a disservice there, I think. Finlandrop, that is our final stop, I believe. So this will be the last run that we make tonight. Once we arrive at Finlandrop, that's it. It goes slightly fast, but we'll let the gradient bleed that off for us. go. We've got a 43 zone coming up pretty quickly as well. We should probably start to slow down a little bit for that. There we go. Back up to 50 in a moment. Luckily it's a pretty short train, so it doesn't take us long to actually clear the speed zone changes. There we go. Three miles out, 4 minutes to get there. It's going to be close, isn't it? We should just about do it. As long as we don't have any more reductions in our speed limit, we should be okay. This big logging facility here, look at that. A little water treatment plant there as well. Oh, and while I remember, for everyone who is playing Marwell Manor at the moment and is frustrated with some of the bugs, the only bug that I've encountered that stops me from actually doing something is being able to sell milk. Oxygen David has apparently had some kind of big argument with people on the FSUK forum, and apparently is no longer there and may well be stepping away from modding after he finishes updating this map. But he has said that the map will get an update. He's already released on Dropbox a list of fixes for those people that don't want to wait on PC for the updated version to hit the mod hub. And if it's being updated on mod hub, that means console people should get that update as well. But the only thing you can't do is milk at the moment. Everything else works. You know, everyone said, oh, you know, you can't feed the chickens, or you can't clean up the mess from the chickens, or you can't clean up, you know, the pig mess. You can, because I've got a test farm and I tested those, and you can. You need to own the land before you can do it, but it's not that expensive to buy. You just buy the pig farm, the second farm, and then you can do whatever you want with the pigs and the chickens. But milk, it is impossible to sell milk, unfortunately, until that map does get an update. As I said, Oxygen David posted today on his Facebook page saying that he is aware of some issues. He's collecting bug data on his Facebook page at the moment. There's a link to a Dropbox location for a zip file for the PC guys who don't want to wait for the updated version to hit the mod hub. And then, you know, the update will get patched when it gets patched. So it is going to be worked on. We're just going to wait for it. to switch to internal so we don't have these overhead pantographs causing blurring issues on the screen. Here we go. Start slowing down for the station. And there we go. We have arrived at Finnitrop, which I believe is our final stop. Cornish Simmer Matty says he heard that he isn't stopping modding. Well, no one really knows for sure exactly what's going on. Apparently there was a big argument, on the FSUK forum. A lot of posts have been deleted. The only thing that is left now is a locked thread that's been locked by a moderator. It's unclear exactly what's going on. I don't know. We know that Bill has already stepped away from modding. Whether he's going to come back at some point in the future or not, I don't know. Hopefully he will. But the rumours are out there that David is walking away from modding for Farming Simulator as well. We don't know. We'll have, official announcement, I suppose, on that. And there we go. We have completed our service. Fantastic stuff. Why are we still in the train? Why is it not taking us back? Oh, there we go. No. Okay. We're still on the train. I'm not quite sure why, but we're still on the train. Let's make our way onto the platform. Oh, it's because we're doing a service, isn't it, rather than a scenario. That's why. There we go. So, yeah, we have had some fun with the Ruhr-Sieg Nord DLC today. I might use that as my thumbnail, actually. So I'm going to do it without that big red circle in the way. Take a screenshot just in case. But yeah, that is the end of another TSW Tuesday running session. We'll be back again around the same time, 8 o'clock UK time, next Tuesday. As always, stay tuned for more content for Farming Simulator. There'll be another episode in a couple of days. Tomorrow there'll be another Genesis Alpha 1 and the launch of our City Skylines Green Cities playthrough, where we take on one of the scenarios, one of the challenges, rather than just a static build. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I've enjoyed chatting with you all again, and I will see you all with some more TSW next Tuesday.